Hello, Gaston County. Welcome to episode number 85 of Gaston's Great, a podcast highlighting some of the great things happening in and around Gaston County. I'm your host, Stephen Long, and we are coming to you once again from the international headquarters of GSM Services right here in downtown Gastonia. We simply believe in discussing more of the reasons why Gaston's great. We have another great organization this week as we highlight the Gaston Symphonic Band. We have John Gunter and Bill Todd with us today. John is the director of the Symphonic Band, and Bill is a past president and trombone player for the organization. John and Bill, it's great to have you on, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
Absolutely. So as usual, we're going to get right to it. And if I can, maybe just start with you, John. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, anything that you would like to share.
I've been the director, conductor of the Gaston Symphonic Band for the past 12 years.
Okay.
I am a middle school band director, love teaching, and I'm also a worship pastor or minister of music at Second Baptist in Mount Holly.
Oh, okay. So where are you a middle school director at?
Piedmont Community Charter.
Oh, okay. Very good. Excellent. Bill, how about you, sir? What would you like to share?
Well, mostly I'm a trombone player. Started in the high school band, and back I think Eisenhower was president, and the trombone has saved me lots of times. And when I came back to Gastonia after I retired, I met Larry Clore, who had been a schoolmate in the high school band, and he told me about the symphonic band. And also, my brother Ken played drums, and so together Ken and I joined the symphonic band in 1999, I think.
Okay. 99. Okay, very good. So I got to do a little shout out. I mean, your whole family is, much of your family is musical. I know your son, I guess, plays drums, right? Or multiple things. He actually plays multiple things, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's another Bill Todd. He plays guitar, he plays drums, he plays keyboard, and he plays the radio.
And some grandchildren that are musically inclined as well.
Everyone, yes.
Yeah. So I've had the luxury of seeing them perform as well, and not just at Forest View Marching Band. So it's been a good experience. In your family, I think very highly of you and your family. And I have to shout out to my son, who is Alex, who is a member involved with the Gaston Symphonic Band, which has been great for us as well. So,
and also your daughter.
Oh, that's right. She was involved with Forest View Marching Band as well back in the day.
Yes,
a few years ago. So, and I have no idea where that music inclination came from, because it sure wasn't from their mother or father. Must have been their grandfather on my wife's side of the family. He was he played some few instruments as well when he was younger. So here's the big question, of course. What this is for both of you, but what is the Gaston Symphonic Band? What is your involvement? What role with the organization, and just anything and everything you want to share about the organization.
Well, the Gaston Symphonic Band is an opportunity, started as an opportunity for adults who had played in concert bands in school, high school, college, whatever, and now we're adults and didn't have a place to play.
Right.
So the Gaston Symphonic Band was organized to provide that, and also to provide concert band music for Gastonia and Gaston County. I know that even when I was a little kid, that there was always a community band that played for things, and so that's how the Gaston Symphonic Band came about.
Is there a specific mission listed somewhere for the group, or is that kind of or Bill? Did he just describe it pretty well?
No, I think that's exactly what it is, and even in our mission statement is to provide a place for musicians to continue playing where they might not have that option. If the Gaston Symphonic Band wasn't there, you would have 60 to 75 people who wouldn't have a place to play, and they would either have to travel to Charlotte or travel to South Carolina or north to North above Lake Norman there to find a different place to play.
Right. So Bill kind of described how he got involved with the symphonic band. John, how did you end up getting involved?
Well, it's actually funny, but Larry Clore got him into the band.
Okay.
And I was standing in a music store here in Gastonia, and I was speaking to Larry Clore. And he said, I play trumpet in the Gaston Symphonic Band. And I was like, oh, really? I play tuba. And he goes, oh, you should come sit in. And I asked him when they met and everything. And I actually had seen the Gaston Symphonic Band play at Stowe Botanical. And I was like, oh, man, I'd love to play with them. And then I met Larry, and Leary. And he invited me to come play, and I came and played tuba for a year, and then switched to trombone for a while, and then back to tuba, and then I was the conductor.
Okay. Yeah, how does that progression, how do you go from that to being the conductor, just being involved to, is it like some secret vote or something, or?
I don't know if it's availability
okay.
or ability. I was the assistant conductor. I was helping out in rehearsals, and when at that time it was Julius Barkley.
Okay. Yeah, I saw that on the website.
Was the conductor, and then he asked me. He was like, he said you should always train your replacement. You should always have somebody to be able to step up in case you can't do it. And so he asked me if I would be the assistant, and I said, sure, I think I'd like that. And so it just happened that maybe 6 months into that, he had some heart trouble, and the doctor told him he needed to slow down.
Oh, wow.
And so they came to me, the band, the president at the time came to me, John Bagwell, and said, do you think you could do it? And I was like, yeah, I know I could do it, And we set it up, started working, and haven't looked back since.
Okay, very good. So I'm not sure this is the right word, but can you talk about some of the initiatives or the programs that you do, or just kind of general, the involvement in the community, and just kind of, and again, this is questions for both of you, but, I'm not sure initiatives is the right word, because I've seen multiple concerts myself, but kind of just describe what it is that you guys are doing on a month-to-month basis, or is that a fair question?
I think it's a fair question. On a month-to-month basis, I mean, we're preparing music.
Right, yeah.
But one of the things that we enjoy doing is, one of the ways that we give back to our community is the memorial service in the gardens for the DAV. And that's just a special time for us. And it's not about us. We just go and provide music and add to their ceremony. We appreciate being able to do that. We have a lot of veterans that are serving in our as volunteers in our band, and so it's nice for us to be able to do something like that.
Okay. Bill, what about you? I mean, I think I know you're a veteran as well, but what looking back on your time with the symphonic band, and what are some of the things you have enjoyed the most or most proud of, or just talk about some of the different programs and things you've kind of done while you've been there?
Well, one of the things I'm most proud of was an event called High Seas to High Shoals. It was started by David Brose, who was the curator of the Shield Museum. And he saw an opportunity through a celebration of the Smithsonian Museum in Washington. They were celebrating an anniversary, and the beginning of the Smithsonian was provided by a person called, I think, John Wilkes, who had a collection of artifacts that he collected when he traveled around the North and South America exploring for the United States Navy. The coastlines went all the way to Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
And he had quite a collection of artifacts, which became the initial display for the Smithsonian. And so David Brose got a grant for because John Wilkes later lived in Gaston County and developed iron mines and things such as that. So David Brose was able to get a grant to extend that celebration to the museums of Gaston County and Shield Museum, and he got a grant to have a piece of music written to illustrate John Wilkes' travels through up and down the east and west coasts. And he found a composer in Hawaii who wrote a piece that I compare it to Victory at Sea, because it covers so many different aspects of that journey. And then Tim Hamilton, who is the director of South Point High School Band right now, was our director. And Tim directed us with that piece of music, and David invited the composer to come to Gastonia, and he listened to us play it, and he was thoroughly pleased with the way we played it. So it was a piece of music, an extensive piece of music that was written especially for the Gaston Symphonic Band. And I think that I might have been president when that happened. I don't remember, but I am really proud that the Symphonic Band was part of that.
Oh, that's unique. Yeah, I think that's my experience with just coming to the few of your concerts. It's just, I don't know. It's a unique thing for Gaston County. Almost one of those things that some people might think, we've got that in Gaston County. It's almost like one of the best kept secrets maybe in Gaston County. So I'm just fortunate to be to have a connection with you guys. So, what about how many concerts do you typically do in a year? How many members or players do you have? That's not necessarily the right phrase. I'm sure there's some better terminology, but what's happening year to year?
Well, I think we were talking about this earlier, but post COVID, we've like everyone, we have different. Prior to COVID, we during the fall we would average about 50 to 55 members, and then during the spring we would jump up to around 70 to 75. And we typically do, depending on how the season falls out, we typically do one or two concerts in the fall, and then one or two. This season it happens to be three, but one or two concerts in the spring, and always doing the memorial service in the garden. So that's just something we always do. But that's typically what we prepare for. And then, inevitably something will come up and they'll say, hey, can we do this? And, we see if we can accommodate that. But our schedule, what we plan for is specifically 2 in the fall and 2 in the spring.
So I've been to a couple of your performances where you collaborated with some high school bands. Can maybe talk about that? I know the most recent one was with South Point, and maybe was there one last year with Cherryville? So maybe talk about the collaboration with some other local schools or their bands or and their directors.
Well, we try to find a unique way to highlight music in Gaston County, and if we can bring our audience to their audience and bring their audience to us by having a joint concert, not only do their top players in that band see an opportunity for them to come and play with us and get some extra playing time, play music that their high school band might not play, but also we can get the parents of those students to buy in more. Not that they're not buying in already, but that they get more invested when they see that there's music past high school.
Oh, sure. Yes, I know for our family, our oldest 2 kids played in the band at Cramerton, and then we didn't know what was going to happen, Cramerton Middle School when they went on to Forest View, and then they both marched at Forest View. And I will tell you, for us, that was a whole new experience, and we had not, but it was great, right? We had just 6 between the 2 of them, 6 great years of going to band competitions and and even I think in high school, Alex did maybe played once or twice with the symphonic band. I remember out at the Stowe Botanical was, I think, the first time we went to a performance. So yeah, I think getting those families introduced to that, and then Alex marched in college, and now one of the best things, there's two things that have happened since he's come back after graduating, is getting back involved in church with a brass group, and then the symphonic band. I know he looks forward to that, and it's something that keeps him good to keep young people engaged in activities like that. So, Bill, anything you want to add to that about the, involvement with high school or kids or?
Well, of course, the symphonic band was originally started as an outlet for adults, but
right.
We also allow students from high schools who are, excellent, who excel in the high school bands and are recommended by their band directors. And if we have a vacancy, and sometimes we make a vacancy for these special kids with extra talent. And we've had about 5 or 6 of those students start playing with us when they were in high school. They go on to college, and now they're band directors.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
So looking ahead, I know we've kind of got the general foundation of the symphonic band, and I'm assuming, is it kind of back to normal since COVID, or is it still kind of maybe get back to normal, or the new normal, like everybody talks about? Since
I found out that during the quarantine, nobody had a chance to play or anything, and so once the quarantine was over, everybody wants to get started again. There's a lot of enthusiasm. I think our first rehearsal after the quarantine, we had maybe 23 people there, and then the next one we had maybe 40 people there.
Okay, yep.
And everybody's enthusiastic about playing again, and our audiences, I think, are just as enthusiastic about hearing us play again.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I echo that. The one thing I will say is, if there are any clarinet players listening,
yes,
and you want a place to play, come and see us. We'd love to have you.
Oh, that's good. I mean, again, that's exactly the point of this. One of the points is to bring a more awareness, to our 3 listeners who are out there taking this in today. No, we actually do have a few more than that. But yeah, that's the whole point of starting this podcast in general, was there's so many positive things around Gaston County, and your organization is a great example. So, this classic question is, looking in the future, 5 to 10 years down the road or sooner, are there any plans, or, how do you see the organization evolving, or what might change be coming?
I don't see any unusual goals in the future. We just like to make it bigger and better and play more marches.
Yeah. That's funny. I know Alex, when my son, he went up to Western Carolina, he was, his first thought was music, and as a studies, but I think he discovered he just loves to play, and I think that shows out now with his time with you guys. And so, John, what about you looking ahead? What do you see the future for the organization?
Well, it's in good hands. There's a lot of good people that are in the band. I'll say this, and it needs to be said, that we had a core group of people that fought hard to stay together through COVID.
Gotcha.
Because there was a lot of groups that just quit.
Yeah.
There was a lot of groups that but our board of directors tried everything they could to find a way to make it safe, to make it affordable, finding a place to rehearse because the schools were closed and we couldn't be there. So that I've got to give it to them for sticking through,
right,
and making this time right now possible, because if it hadn't been for that, we would have had to start all over again. And so when we came back out of COVID and restrictions were lifted, and we were already set up, ready to go, and different places opened their doors to us, and it was the right thing. I think for the future, it's to continue to elevate the level of music that we play. At the same time, offering a fun environment, something that's attainable for everybody. That's the challenge. Is we want to play music that challenges us, but it's also got to be attainable so that we don't.
Oh, sure.
Running people away. I'm scared. So having a group of people select music and kind of suggest music and build programs around that way. That's kind of the approach we're looking for. There could be in the future another situation where we have a piece written for us.
Okay.
Commission something. We just have that. I can't throw everything out there right now, but
I
would love to have something like that that we could have something current that was created just for the Gaston Symphonic Band.
Okay, yeah, that's good. Yeah, so you kind of already answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. There's a podcast about Gaston County, why it's such a great place, and maybe start with you, Bill. I mean, why would you say Gaston County is better because the Gaston Symphonic Band is here?
Oh, gee, can we skip that and come back to that question? Why is Gaston County better because of the band?
Yeah.
Again,
I mean, because you've already shared, a lot of reasons.
It's the band is just something that continues. I mean, it goes back to my grandfather, my great grandfather played in bands in Gaston County, and I think it's a great outlet for artistic abilities if you want to play in an organization. In addition to that, it's good entertainment for people that come hear us. For the individuals that are in the band, we've played lots of places, and we have lots of experiences that we like to share. And I guess that's about it.
Okay, John, how would you answer that?
Can I take a minute?
You sure can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
This is about you guys.
The music experience makes us more human. When we connect with other people, we play music because we like to play music, but it's also to connect with other people. Prior to music being recorded and podcasts and all this kind of stuff, prior to us having recorded music, the only way you heard music was to share it with somebody else.
Right.
You either went to a concert, you went to an orchestra concert or opera house, or you went to your neighbor's house where they had a room dedicated. It was the music parlor, and their young daughter or son were learning how to play an instrument, and you listened to them play, and you danced with them, or you went and learned and played yourself. You shared music. And even so much so that when the first records came out and the first record machines were in homes,
right,
people were embarrassed to listen to music by themselves.
Huh.
And they felt
Yeah.
they didn't want people walking in them because it was weird. Because the only experience we'd had was with people.
Live music, yeah.
Yeah. And so when you take that away from a society, from a community, that's why brass bands were so important to each community, and that's where the concert band concept came from,
right.
Community band. It's because we need that interaction, and if you take that away from a community, you're taking part of their humanity away. I can care more about you if I can appreciate you. I can care more about what you care about if I can learn to appreciate you. And if I see you, if I see your skills, if I see your abilities in music, that makes me want to know you. It makes me want to care about you. If I don't have that connection, I just put my earphones in, I turn my music on, I listen to what I want to listen to. Even when we get into the car, and we've got all our family in the car, everybody puts their headphones in and listens to what they want to listen to.
Yeah.
I turn on my podcast. My wife's got her phone over there. Everybody, grandkids are in the back with their stuff. We don't have a communal aspect. And so we take band away, then we really don't have it. We're not teaching that to our kids. We're not teaching that to our students. We're not teaching that to our adults and the communities, that this is vital to us being human and us getting along and us appreciating other people and other styles. And I think it's critical that we keep bands like this alive.
Maybe we should just shut the podcast down after that. That was, what's my favorite word? That was legit, John. I mean, seriously. And, if you're, I'm a Gen Xer, so I'm a kid of the 80s. So music was always a big part for my generation for some reason. And then, my children getting into band. I mean, I can, music, songs, music, some of those band performances, I can take me right back to that moment.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I don't have it in here, but I could pull my phone out. I've still got, when my son was a senior, he had a solo in the program, and I've still got at least 3 performances still on my phone. And, sometimes I'll play them on the way home, through my car, so you make a great point. So, man, that's a good way. That's a great answer, and I appreciate you sharing that. So before we move on, we're going to, we do have some questions we'd like to throw out here that are Gaston County related, but is there anything I haven't asked that I should have asked? Anything you'd like to share? I mean, before we finish, we'll make sure that we cover where our listeners can learn more, upcoming performances, just how anybody can help. So we'll make sure we cover that before we finish. But anything I haven't asked that I should have asked?
Next concert.
When is the next concert?
Our next concert is April the 22nd. We'll be in Cherryville at the Cherry Blossom Festival.
Okay.
Cherryville, for all those listeners.
For all those Gaston County people. Yeah.
We'll be there, and we'll be playing at 12 o'clock and for 45 minutes.
Okay.
And it's going to be a great outdoor short concert. Going to have a blast doing it.
Don't you do? Are you still doing something on some of the Memorial Day service as well, or is that
our next one is April 22nd, and then May the 20th we're going to be in Kings Mountain.
Okay,
and that's going to be a little bit longer concert. And then again, Memorial. It's not actually Memorial Day. It's the Monday. I guess it is Memorial Day, but.
Yeah, Memorial officially is the last Monday of May. Is that right?
I think so.
Yeah.
And that's
okay. And those are outdoor, correct? Both of those are outdoor concerts.
All 3 of them, yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure when this one will be released because we're 3 or 4 weeks behind, maybe. So we may have just. So it will be before Memorial Day, but when this is released, April 19th or whenever, it might be past. I don't know. So that we're just really lame around here about, I don't even know when we're going to release this one. So that's what you get with Gaston's great total lack of understanding of anything. So again, I appreciate that. Again, we'll make sure our listeners know how to get involved or help, or maybe there's some, maybe somebody will hear this that plays clarinet, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. And may not know about the organization. So one thing we force our guests to answer are some questions that are Gaston County related, and we don't give our guests any choice. That's just how we roll here at Gaston's Great. So, John, we'll start with you with these super important questions that everybody wants to know. This is what everybody in the band organization wants to know, your family. This is super important. So, John, what's your favorite Tony's ice cream flavor?
Black cherry.
Black cherry. That's actually a more popular answer than I would have thought before we started this. Bill?
Peach.
Peach. I'm not sure we've had peach as an answer. Maybe once. Wow. Very, very good. Bill, Sundrop or Cheerwine?
I'm diabetic, so I stick to iced tea.
John, what about you? Are you a Sundrop or Cheerwine person? Or
Sundrop all the way.
Okay. John, favorite local restaurant?
Gaston County or Gastonia?
Either one. There's a time limit.
Okay. My favorite restaurant to eat at is Taxco in Belmont.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody we've had that one once or twice, I think, as an answer. Bill, how about you, sir?
Well, I like the web because I can sit there and remember going there and seeing movies when I was a kid, and the food is great.
Yeah. I actually saw Rocky there, so I'm been here long enough and old enough to remember when it was still a theater. Bill, what about favorite outdoor activity in Gaston County, or favorite park or something you should share?
I like Crowder's Mountain.
Yeah, Crowder's is great. Absolutely. John, what about you?
I like Crowder's Mountain as well. It's just nice.
Yeah, it's unique to have a place like that in this landlocked county that's far from the mountains, So this is my question, John. I'm gonna start with you on this one. This is the question that I ask every episode, and there's only one correct answer, but I'll ask it anyway. UNC Duke or NC State? I mean, you can ad lib this one. I'll give everybody the opportunity to ad lib an answer if they really want to, but
UNC.
Give me something. Bill.
Well, I was a member of the NC State Band in 1956 through 60, so yeah, it has to be NC State.
Excellent. So
I'll tell you, I come by this rightly.
Okay.
I never went to the school, and so I can't claim allegiance there. But I do live in North Carolina. Number one. Number two, my father bought a house and had Carolina blue siding put on it, and had a mailbox with a big Tar Heel foot on it. So I've lived in a house full of Tar Heel fans.
That's unfortunate.
No, it's been the best thing in the world.
Well, everybody who knows me knows I'm married. I'm married to Tar Heel, so we have a mixed family. So, John, what is something very few people know about you? I'm throwing out some stumpers here, you guys.
I'm pretty open. I don't really do anything that
other than you lived in a house that had Carolina blue siding.
I have a brother that's 11 months younger than I am, and we graduated together.
Oh wow, 11 months. That's quick.
They're called Irish twins.
Okay, that's interesting. Bill, what about you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask somebody.
Well, I know you've had an very interesting life.
I've been blessed.
So that's all you got for us. Am I going to have to bring your daughter in here?
Oh, well, she's one of the blessings. Yeah,
that's for sure. I'm sure. So that's all you got for us?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, how about Bill, how about a book, something you might recommend, or article, or just blog or podcast that you listen to, something you might share with our listeners?
I was a Navy pilot, so I just finished reading a trilogy by it's called Punk's War, and it's by a Navy airman, and it reminded me of all the things I went through 60 years ago when I was in the Navy. It was a good trilogy. Ward Carroll is the author, and it's published by the Naval Institute.
Okay, very good. Thanks for sharing that. I'm a big reader. I'm always reading something and always looking for my next read. John, what about you?
I would say go and listen to Gustav Dudamel conduct the Mahler's Second Symphony. Spend the time to soak that in. It's great.
Okay, that's great. That's good. I guess I should have expected that from the symphonic band today. Well, that's a great answer. I appreciate that. All right, so I guess I appreciate you guys indulging us on those Gaston County questions, even though a couple of them you just kind of lamed through, but we'll let that go. So, John, I'll start with you on this question. Besides the Gaston Symphonic Band, you remember this is a podcast about why Gaston County is such a great place. Besides the Symphonic Band, why is Gaston County such a great place in your view?
It's diverse, and I mean that in the best way. There, you can go one side of the county to the other side of the county, north to south, and you can find different people with different ideas, different upbringings, who call this place home. And if we're ever going to grow as a society, we have to embrace people that are different, understand them, be challenged by them, and challenge them, and live respectfully. And this is a great place to do it.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Well said. Bill, how would you answer that?
Well, I think several things. Location is important. We're equally distant between the beach and between the mountains.
Yeah, I agree.
Equally distant between New York City and New Orleans and Florida. The climate is just outstanding here. We have beautiful springs like the one we're enjoying now, with all the flowering trees and shrubs. I lived in New Jersey for 30 years, and our spring lasted about 2 weeks, and then it was hot. Our autumns here are beautiful.
Yeah.
And also, there's still a lot of the old South culture of respect and good manners, and I grew up here, so everything I compare to here, and it's always comes out on top.
Well, good. I appreciate that. And, and I agree completely with my kind of maybe going back to my struggle to call you Bill. My dad would be smacking me on the back of the head right now for that. So I'll stick with you on this next question. This is our last question. We'll get this wrapped up, gentlemen. So, Bill, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
Well, I got two answers for that. Number one is you have absolutely no idea of all the opportunities that you'll meet in your life, so be prepared for every one of them and take advantage of as many as you can. And number two, eat your vegetables.
That's good. John, how would you answer that?
Dig in. Don't wait.
Okay.
Get going. Because there's, like you said, there's so many possibilities. You're going to meet so many opportunities and challenges. You got to be ready. And if you're ready, you'll meet them with success and keep trucking and keep growing and keep stepping up. But, just dig in and get ready.
Well, that's good. Man, those are two good. We need to make notes, do a little transcript of those answers. So, gentlemen, this has been really good. So, again, the main point, right, is to bring awareness to the organization. Maybe somebody might be hearing this for the first time and learning about the symphonic band. So, where can our listeners go to learn more about the organization, see where upcoming, events are and performances, just anything and everything that you'd like to share?
Well, we have a website. It's gsbinfo.org, I think.
Correct.
And we also have a Facebook page.
Okay.
And we rehearse on Thursdays at Greer School. And any adult that's ever played an instrument that wants to play again, just show up and you're in the band. There's no audition. We do charge dues, but we're always looking for new members. And right now, like John says, especially clarinets. But I think that's it.
Also, I think I know at the performances, you guys are selling a little bit of merchandise, maybe past performances are available. Is there any way to get those other than that performances, or is that how they need to find them if they want to be able to purchase anything like that?
If they wanted to contact us through the website or something like that, we could probably get them a copy of a specific performance. But we do have all of our performances recorded and put together that way. And then we do have a couple of the best of kind of.
Yeah, I've seen that on the website, right? Yeah.
But one of the big things, we're a nonprofit.
Right.
And we all pay dues to play. We care enough about playing music that we help support the group. And we have a donor list. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Bill probably knows better what it is. But if people want to donate and become a member, to help keep music alive in Gaston County, to help us buy music, help us purchase instruments and things like that. We'd love any of your help that you can give us. It's
Can you donate through the website, or is there information on the website of how to donate and where to send it and that kind of thing?
The information would be on the website of how they could do that.
Okay, very good. So any last words before we close this episode out?
Not me.
I appreciate the opportunity that Gaston County gives us.
Yeah.
We could prepare music all day long, but if nobody came out to the concerts, if you know about this and you haven't told your friends that there's a free concert that they can go and listen to music
to, right.
Take their grandkids to, take their kids to, please tell people.
Yeah, that's a great point. We didn't mention that the concerts, even the performances that are at a specific location like First Assembly or Second Baptist Church or South Point High School, there's no charge to attend. I think it would be, good to consider a donation, but I think, you can just show up, right, and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And I will admit, I have taken advantage of that more than once, and it's terrific. And it's, for me, it's typically stuff that I'm not going to be exposed to,
Right.
And so it's really, I would encourage any of our listeners out there, get on the website or the Facebook page and pay attention, find out when the next concert is. And this last one at South Point, we brought some friends that had never been before.
Wow.
And so, good friends of ours that we spend a lot of time with. And I'm sure part of it they came because of our son Alex playing, but you know what? They had a great time, and we had dinner afterwards. It was just a great evening,
Yeah.
So again, I appreciate what you gentlemen do and for our community, and it definitely enhances our community. And for me personally, but it's just a great organization, and it's nice to have so many people involved. And again, I appreciate what you do. So I'm going to finish up this episode like normal with my own recommendations. My thought quote for the day, for the week, and a podcast recommendation this week is actually one. I'm a big fan of a gentleman named Simon Sinek, who I've recommended a couple of his books, but he has a podcast titled A Bit of Optimism. And I like the title, and most of his podcasts are kind of related to Gaston's Great. We're talking about positive things here locally. He's kind of talking about his optimism for the world in general, which, if you pay attention too much, it doesn't seem that way maybe at times. But I personally think that the best is yet to come overall, and so I would recommend that podcast. And my quote or thought for the week comes from Thomas Jefferson, and he said, "I'm a great believer in luck and find the harder I work, the more I have of it." So I like that. I think live in a world of people looking for shortcuts, and I just think the old-fashioned hard work and time and effort and practice, is really what's required, and that can maybe lead you to a little more luck and success. So again, thanks to our listeners. Thanks again for taking the time to listen to today's episode. Please continue to spread the word if you can about the podcast, and please don't hesitate to contact us here at our email, which is podcast@gastonsgreat.com. We're always looking for suggestions for future podcast topics and guests. You can find the podcast and subscribe at the website, gastonsgreat.com, or anywhere you listen to podcasts. And please follow us on all our social media platforms. And according to Naomi, give us a good 5-star rating. Helps the podcast get noticed. Thanks again to John and Bill for being our guests today. Gaston's Great is produced and brought to you by Naomi Hunt and Amy Anderson from GSM Services, and edited here locally by the Sumner Group. I'm your host, Stephen Long. Thanks again for hanging out with us, and please keep coming back to hear more reasons why Gaston's great.